I am the female lead of an erotic romance novel. When I was reborn, I was being pressed against the bathroom wall by the male lead, Alvin Knight. Amidst the misty steam, he spoke harshly. Are you still distracted at this time? Who are you thinking of? Is it my younger brother? Ding! Wisnovel reminds you to click the subscribe button in the bottom right corner to read the complete novel. My heart suddenly tightened. Back then, when I was being manipulated by the plot, it was because of his repeated seduction that I willingly became the forbidden mistress of the two brothers. It turns out that from our very first time, he had already laid the foundation for future plans. I turned my head and kissed the side of his face, tears welling up in my eyes. Are you disgusted with me? You know that I only have feelings for you. In the mirror, I could clearly see a hint of mockery flash in his eyes. His phone rang, and the name Dora Patel made the man behind me tremble. He covered my lips with his hand, unwilling to leave, and answered the call. Dora, what's wrong? The girl on the other end of the phone was crying pitifully, just arguing with her boyfriend. And she wanted Alvin to come pick her up. Alvin comforted her in a gentle voice. All right, I'll come right away. He quickly ended the call, tidied himself up meticulously, and only noticed me huddled in the corner before leaving. Although he seemed impatient, he still bent down and kissed my lips, asking, "What's wrong?" "Don't leave, okay? It's raining heavily outside, it's not safe. I'm worried about you." Seemingly unaware that my attempt to stop him from leaving was out of concern for his safety, Alvin softened his expression. He smiled and pinched my nose. Dora is my friend, just like my younger sister. It's not safe for her to be alone outside. Alvin left in a good mood, promising me that he would be back soon. But I knew he wouldn't. In the previous life's plot, the jealous and insecure me had a big fight with him. But Alvin's eyes turned cold and impatient, saying, "It's enough." Then he slammed the door and left. I couldn't believe that my once gentle and composed boyfriend would act like this for another woman. I chased after him in the rain. But I was left far behind by his car, covered in bruises, and knelt on the ground. I had a high fever for 3 days and kept calling him. But he didn't answer a single call. Later, Alvin came back and said, "Dora is feeling down, so I'm accompanying her to Italy to relax." He casually comforted me with a few words, and I actually forgave him. Late at night, after confirming that Alvin wouldn't come back, I packed my belongings and moved to the opposite side of the school. And across the hall was Edison Knight, who had pursued me through bullying tactics. It was said that the Knight family had cut off his card as punishment for his arrogance. Was that enough to erase the harm he had caused me? But I knew this was a world of novels, and only I had awakened. I had to seek justice for myself, and I could only take revenge on my own. The noise from moving angered Edison, and he pushed the door open, ready to get angry. But when he saw me, he froze. The scene of my suicide from before had left a deep shadow on him. We hadn't seen each other for a long time. It was only because Alvin still loved his younger brother that he pursued me, made me fall for him, and then handed me over to his brother to share. He hoped that his younger brother could break free from self-loathing. At first, Edison was furious that his brother had laid a hand on me, but then he became infatuated with this absurd situation. "Why are you living here?" Edison locked his gaze onto me, like a wild wolf targeting its prey. I lowered my head slightly. I'm moving out now." "That's not what I meant." He grabbed my wrist and added, "I'm sorry. If you need anything, you can find me." I watched as Edison hurriedly walked away, silently rubbing my wrist that he had squeezed red. Edison had a serious anger management issue, which was the reason the author used to justify his bullying of me. And it was also the means by which I would seek revenge. I didn't believe that these selfish and cruel people would truly act like loving brothers. The kitchen faucet was broken, splashing water all over me. I knocked on the door next door and shrank back under Edison's increasingly gloomy gaze. "The kitchen faucet is broken. Can you help me take a look?" Edison followed me into the room without saying a word. The kitchen was wet everywhere. He took off his shirt and threw it at me. "Hold this. I'll go in and take a look." After about a minute, the sound of water in the kitchen stopped. He shook his half-wet hair and looked at me with a dim gaze. "Maria, are you seducing me?" As he spoke, he reached out and pinched my chin. "I once forced you like that and you still wouldn't accept me. Why are you regretting it now?" From his pitch-black pupils, I could see myself, soaked under the nightgown, nothing hidden. "I just wanted to have a good relationship with you." "Having a good relationship with me like this?" "All right, I like it." Edison sneered. He lifted me up and sat me on the bar, leaving a hot kiss on my neck. I pushed him away. "Edison, can we just be friends first?" "Who the fuck wants to be friends with you?" "I just want to be your boyfriend." But surprisingly, Edison actually stopped and leaned against my ear, breathing lightly. "You know what kind of person I am. If I can't touch you, then..." "All right." Since then, Edison has become even more unrestrained in sticking to me. He goes everywhere claiming to be my boyfriend. On that day, I was taken out by him to celebrate his birthday. Alvin, who had been missing for 3 months, finally came back. Maybe when he came home and saw that I had cleaned up everything, he was unusually flustered. He called me and came to my door. When he arrived, I had only half of my makeup done. "Why are you living across from Edison?" He looked at me with a scrutinizing gaze, a hint of displeasure in his eyes. I carefully drew my eyebrows in front of the mirror. "I couldn't find you. You also said that we can't reveal our relationship now, it would be bad for me. So I had to move across from Edison's place. I want to have a good relationship with him, maybe I can find out news about you." "Is that so?" "Yes, now Edison is very nice to me." "When can we make it public?" "I think it's okay now." As I spoke, I put down the eyebrow pencil in my hand and looked at him with sparkling eyes. Alvin finally withdrew his probing gaze and embraced me. "Good girl, Edison still likes you. Don't provoke him." As he spoke, his hand was already wandering on my bare back. I breathed lightly and looked at him. "Where have you been these days?" "I had an important project overseas." He didn't tell me, as he did in the previous life, that he went to be with other women as a matter of course. When Alvin wanted to go further, I pushed him away. "Today is Edison's birthday. He invited me to celebrate tonight." His expression became cold and distant. He was always more indulgent than Edison. "Fine, I'll go tonight too." Perhaps his younger brother was truly important. Alvin restrained himself and rubbed my head before leaving to pick up his Dora Patel. Edison had reserved a private room in the bar he invested in. When he brought me over, Alvin was already there. And Dora obediently sat next to him, drinking milk. "Bro." Edison greeted his brother, and when his gaze fell on Dora, he paused and smiled meaningfully. He exchanged glances with his brother. Dora pretended not to understand and turned her head, but her ears turned red. She had always known that the high and mighty young master of the Knight family regarded her as a love interest. She was dating someone else without guilt, treat him as a brother, but always making inappropriate gestures between siblings. In the previous life, Dora had a fight with her new boyfriend and moved into our house with Alvin. When Alvin was about to make a move on me, Dora pushed open our bedroom door. I was so scared that I screamed, telling her to get out. But she just stubbornly looked at Alvin and said, "I can't sleep, Alvin, accompany me for a drink." Surprisingly, Alvin actually left, looking at me coldly. "You go to sleep first and don't be so mean to Dora." "When Edison saw your naked body, did you yell like that?" At that moment, I was overwhelmed with embarrassment. And when I finally broke down in tears and couldn't help but push open the door to question Alvin, that was true despair. He held Dora, who was drunk, and kissed her lips under the dim light. It was unbelievably gentle. But when he noticed me, his gaze turned cold, he let go of her and threatened me. "You didn't see anything." But he didn't see it. Behind him, Dora was smiling at me. So later, when I died, Alvin was overwhelmed with remorse, saying that he loved me, but I didn't believe a word. He was not as good as that crazy dog, Edison. Edison naturally sat next to me, with his arm around me, next to his brother. "Did she forgive you?" "Thanks to you for helping me coax her." Edison smiled and raised his glass to his brother. But little did he know, under the table, Alvin's hand was boldly wandering on my thigh. He exerted quite a bit of force, probably feeling a bit dissatisfied. I raised my high heels and hooked Alvin's trouser leg, pretending to accidentally touch Dora. She was startled at first, then looked down and saw the mess under the table. Her pretty and innocent face instantly turned red with jealousy and anger. She bit her lip and looked at me, her tone innocent. "She's dressed so erotically, her skirt is so short." Before I could retract my leg and mock her, Edison wiped his glass against her face and smashed it at her. Dora was so scared that she huddled behind, screaming in an undignified manner. Edison's eyes were bloodshot, and he exuded a sense of cruelty. I thought of the scene where he pushed me into the swimming pool and couldn't help but shrink back in fear. "Don't be afraid of me." His voice was hoarse as he looked at me and stood up. I thought he was going outside to calm down. Little did I know, he grabbed Dora's collar. "After knowing me for so many years, don't you know I'm sick? Insulting my girlfriend?" Dora's face turned pale, trembling. She called out to Alvin. "Alvin, help." From smashing the glass to now, Alvin's hand had not moved away from my thigh. He even went a bit too far and reached in a bit. It seemed that Dora's words so erotically had triggered a nerve in him. "Your girlfriend?" Alvin's expression was indifferent as he took out a cigarette. The crimson flame reflected on his cold white face, making it even more sinister than his furious younger brother. It seemed that as long as anyone among us acknowledged this statement, he would kill us all. "No, Edison, how could you agree to me?" I reached out and held Edison's wrist. At this moment, I felt that this crazy dog was easier to communicate with than that refined scumbag. Edison looked down at my hand holding his, and smiled meaningfully. "Aw, we're good friend, I forgot." He let go of Dora, letting her slide down like a pile of mud. She was now flustered and embarrassed, like a handful of dirty snow. Edison picked up his cigarette case, his hand trembling a bit, as if restraining strong emotions. "I'll go outside for some fresh air and come back later." I was really afraid that he would go out and beat up innocent passers-by. Dora clung to Alvin's sleeve and sobbed softly. Alvin pushed the milk towards her. "Stop crying, why did you provoke Edison?" He had a faint smile on his face, seeming doting and teasing. "It's obvious, she dressed so erotically." Dora muttered innocently. I looked at the back of Edison disappearing at the door, then replied to her. "It's none of your business. Even if I strip naked, it's not your concern." "I saw it." Dora couldn't help but blurt out, her expression full of resentment. The smile on Alvin's face faded. "What did you see?" "Then you should gouge your eyes out. Shouldn't you avoid looking at things you shouldn't see?" "I dressed for Edison, you know." I raised an eyebrow and deliberately distorted her meaning. Dora immediately poured the milk in her hand towards me. I was prepared and immediately dodged, only getting some milk on my arm. The milky white liquid slowly dripped down, extremely ambiguous under the dim light. I chuckled, "I will tell Edison." Alvin looked up and glanced at me indifferently, his lips slightly curved, full of sarcasm. When Edison calmed down and returned, the onlookers automatically defended me. Edison's veins bulged, pointing at Dora's nose and telling her to get lost, wishing he could beat her up. His brother could only send the wronged lover back home. Before leaving, Alvin looked at me deeply, as if his gaze could penetrate us. I knew he couldn't stand Edison's hand on my waist. We played until dawn, and almost everyone was drunk. Edison naturally called a car to take me home with him. I had just finished removing my makeup and was preparing to soak in the bathtub when the door was opened. It was only Alvin. Last time he came, he asked me for the keys to leave. "Why are you here?" I looked at his clear and cold face, feeling somewhat uneasy. If Edison is a brutal mad dog, then Alvin is a sinister snake. Always wearing a cold smile, but hiding a cruel nature deep inside. His gaze was slightly cold, but it freely roamed over me. Wearing this for Edison? Is he worthy? "Maria, aren't you coming home with me?" Alvin leaned against the bar, smiling gently. "I've already come back."